It's hard to pinpoint really when my story begins. I had a really happy childhood, and I've always known my family loved me. I've been blessed with that, and I grew up going to church, but I've always been slightly awkward. I never found socializing very easy. So while I had one or two close friends, I never had a big group. Um, and I'm in between two really wonderful sisters, and I grew up looking at them and being jealous of the attention that they got, particularly from boys. And I wanted that for myself, and it never really happened. And I really struggled with that, with my expectation of what my life should be. And it kind of got worse as I got older. My mental health got worse. And as I went off to uni, that kind of intensified the whole thing. There was no one there looking after me anymore. And I still never really found those close friends at first. I found people I could party with. I found people I could numb out pain with, but not genuine friends immediately. And it got worse, especially towards the start of my second year. I moved into this house and I felt a bit uncomfortable there, and I didn't feel like I was wanted. And I threw this housewarming party, and no one showed up. And it was this kind of moment where I thought, not for the first time, but for the most intense time, I don't want to be here anymore. I just wanted it all to stop. And then suddenly my housemate's yelling at me. There's blue flashing lights, and I'm in the back of an ambulance on the way to hospital. And then there's just this darkness, this not a nothingness like I'd hoped for. Instead, it's a presence. It's heavy and itchy. And then I hear this voice, and it says, "I'm not finished with you yet." And I wake up, and there's a doctor standing over me, and he says, "You're not supposed to be here." And they let me go, and I'm left thinking I can't tell anyone about this voice. They'll think I'm crazy. And I'm walking home with my housemate, and she tells me how hurt she is. And for the first time, I realized that my pain has been impacting other people. And I was just so full of shame. And I knew I needed to talk to someone about this. And I thought for some reason I needed to go to a church to talk about it. And I thought I could get away with coming in the back, and no one would notice me. I thought maybe people would find me a bit weird. They do, but in a good way. But instead, I was just met with love, with acceptance and welcome. These people gave me space to ask my very irritating questions, to pod and proke, and to put all these things together. And I think I was going for about a year before someone gave me a copy of this book by Helen Roseveare. And it's the story of her life, of her pain that she went through, some really awful things that happened to her. And she heard God's voice saying that she needed to thank him for the pain. And I think I found that really weird. I was really offended by it. How could God ask someone to thank him for the pain? And it wasn't until I kept reading and I realized that she'd found this joy through her pain in God. And I suddenly thought, well, if she can do it, why can't I? And it wasn't like smoke filled the room or a light descended or anything, but it was like I've been fighting for years, and it just stopped. I could rest. And it wasn't easy. It's still not very easy. There are times where I'm tempted to find myself and my validation in other people. I look for love in other people. And I went through a pretty bad string of relationships before I became a Christian, and that kept going as I started to be a Christian. And it wasn't until I was in this bad relationship and someone told me no one could ever love you that I thought that's not true, because God loves me. Actually, God loves me so much he's died to prove it so that I can be with him. And that was when I just realized how secure I was in my faith, how true it was, that everything I'd been looking for had been there all along in God. And there's this beautiful bit at the end of the Bible in the book of Revelation, where God talks about coming down from heaven to be with his people again. And there's no more death, there's no more pain, there's no more tears, and God's just there with his people in the mess. And it's a day I really long for. It's really encouraging to be able to hope for it, to know that it's true and it's coming. So even when it's difficult, when life's hard, I know that God is there. He's waiting for me, with these big open arms, just ready to welcome me home.